everybody, my name is Tiffany and I'm the owner of fuzzyrootsza Red Plant Store in South Africa, and today I wanted to go over a few of my favorite plants in my collection. So I want to start with the Dieffenbachia Wilson's Millionaire. I'm going to try and pick this up. It is massive. I don't know if you can see. So for those of you who are a little bit unfamiliar on the permitting side of things, when I started my journey on beautiful plants, I wanted to get one of my top wish list plants was a variegated banana, but the permits in South Africa for a variegated banana were absolutely insane. I have since managed to acquire a permit. But in the meantime, while I was trying to sort all of the logistics of a banana permit out, this was the closest thing I could find to a variegated banana. But in my opinion, it is just so much better. It has got the most beautiful, thick, waxy leaves, and the patterning and the colors of each leaf are absolutely gorgeous. And they seem to come out bigger and bigger. This plant thrives on neglect. I don't have to water it very often. The soil, it's in a regular arid mix. It had a pot a couple of months ago, but as you can see, it's in a fairly, I do not water it very often, it's fairly dry. And when we do water it, we give it a thorough watering and then just let it dry out, which takes quite a while in such a big pot. But it is an absolutely amazing feature plant if you want to put something like this in your home, on your patio. It is hardy, it is not attracted to spider mites, it has had very few pests. This is in my conditions. I'm not sure what your conditions are like. Obviously in other countries it may be different, but for me this plant has been the easiest plant in my collection. When it arrived, it simply went in a pot and it gets watered periodically. It's had one up pot since because it was fairly quick growing, and it has been nothing short of rewarding. The new leaves come out, I think I get one giant leaf about every month that comes out. This plant, when I received it, was much smaller than this. It was tiny. So some of the older leaves are gone, but the leaves just upsize so beautifully, and it is such a stunning feature plant for anywhere in your home. So I would really recommend it even for a beginner. This plant is so easy and so happy, and it's not like your plants that you've got to worry about with spider mites or thrips. To me, I give it a pest spray once in a while, but it's not a magnet. It's not like your velvet leaves where your pests tend to thrive. It's really been a fabulous plant and a great starter plant, and every leaf comes out with this absolute gorgeous random variegation on it. I just love the mottling and I love the sectoral variegation. It is honestly so rewarding, and everybody who sees this plant it's the first plant that they pick out in my collection and go, oh wow, what is that? And when I tell them it's a Dieffenbachia, and most common house plants, small plants, you find a Dieffenbachia growing somewhere. It is so easy to grow, and honestly one of the most beautiful plants in my collection. So the next plant in my collection that I wanted to talk to you about is the Philodendron Red Moon. It was sold to me as a Philodendron Red Moon. I'm not 100% sure that it is. It could be a yellow flame. There was another name. If you can correctly identify this, please put a comment below for me so that I know what the correct ID is. But regardless of what it is an absolutely amazing plant. It is stunning. The colors that come out on this plant are just gorgeous. So let me give you a look into what this plant looks like. So the newest leaf that's coming out you'll see comes out with a very cherry red, and at the bottom here, because this has got a lot of red variegation in it, the bottom is more of a canary yellow. So when the leaf opens, it's canary yellow and cherry red. This is the second oldest leaf. So as you can see, the canary yellow fades to like a lime green, and the cherry red goes into this beautiful dark maroon color. It is so gorgeous. It is really, really absolutely stunning. And then this is an even older leaf, so it holds the coloring for quite a while before it fades down. So the lime green will turn into more of like a green, and this maroon stays around for quite a while. But as the leaves go older, the maroon will fade into a very dark green, and you will be left with the light green and the dark green variegation. Sorry, mind the little bit of pesticide I've got on here. It's not pesticide, it's fungicide that I've got on here. I've got a little bit of spore kill, which is leaving a residue. Even though I wiped the plant, it seems to still be sticking, which is a good thing, not a bad thing. But you'll see with the light green and the dark green and this almost reddish veining, it is absolutely gorgeous and one of my favorite plants in my collection. It is so beautiful, and I have propagated this plant. I actually thought for a minute I hadn't, so I'm going to grab one of its babies. So let me show you. I think this was actually the mother, and I did a top cut, but the new growth has come out. It is not as variegated as yet, and I have been told to just be patient because the variegation does come in a little bit later. I think you can see from the edges of the petiole that is very red, that is where the red comes through. So it'll be a while before these propagations start showing red, which is what I've been told. So, but I've got, I think, 3 propagations, and they're all very similar to this one. They're not showing the red as yet, but this plant was cut. This is the base or the butt cut from this plant, and hopefully it'll show the gorgeous red that the top cut has a little bit later on down the line. So I'm going to move on to my last plant for the spotlight today, and I'll talk about that in just a minute. Let me put these away. So the final plant that I'm going to show you today, which is also, I know a couple of other plant collectors have spoken about this plant, but it really is the highlights in my collection. It is so rewarding and so pretty, but it is not the easiest to grow to look like this, and I'll show you why in a minute. So this is my Philodendron Whipple Way. The leaves come out this beautiful pinky color. I don't know if you can see here. It's got this beautiful pink backing on the leaves, which pulls through to the front and makes it look this gorgeous pastel pink that fades down to like a creamy speckled leaf. This is, I think, the second oldest. It's still got the pink tinge at the back. So if you see the undersides of the plants, they've all got that beautiful pink on them. Now if you look at some of the older leaves, they're more green and not as beautiful as these top 3 leaves. So the plants do fade down a little bit, but as you can see, this is the original leaf, and it has stayed this gorgeous pale minty color. So what I have seemed to have figured out is when I received this plant, and it was, I think, this leaf and this leaf, I put it with the rest of my collection in the greenhouse, and then it started giving me out slightly darker green leaves, and I was like, oh no, is this plant reverting? And I read an article somewhere where they need to be in very bright light. So I moved them all from the shelves in my greenhouse, and I put them onto this very, very top shelf in my greenhouse, which I actually don't have shade netting over the roofing in this area. And all of them that have been put up here, the variegation has started doing this because it is much brighter up here versus what it is down here. So I want to show you one that I've recently put up there, and you can see exactly why. Is it this one? No, it's not this one. Hold on. Let me find it for you. So if you look at this guy, I had him on the shelf, and look at the color. It is nowhere near as beautiful as this guy. It's much, I don't know, it's more of a dull version compared to this beautiful pink. So I've put him up here, and the pink seems to be brightening up a lot. And I've actually put them all up here because they are all doing so fabulously on this very top shelf. If you look at that one as well, the new growth is coming out absolutely amazing. And the only difference in care is up here, they have much more light compared to down at the bottom. So there's a few plants up there, but they do need to be propagated, and I am going to propagate them because hopefully one day everybody will have one of these in their collection. They are absolutely gorgeous. Now, I'm not 100% sure where they originated. There was a story about it being crossed from a domesticum and a wind imbi, or it might just be a domesticum propagation that has ended up looking like this, that they've just obviously a mutation from a domesticum that has turned out to look like this, and they've just kept breeding it. But I know the street where the original people who started with the Whipple Way, they lived on a street called Whipple Way, and that's where it got its name from. But if you compare it to a domesticum, you'll see the leaf shape is very, very similar. So if I grab my domesticum here, you can see they are very, very similar, except this has definitely got a red-pink undertone, where this is definitely more yellow undertone. So I'm not 100% sure. I think there must be a cross, and it's not just a mutation. But honestly, if you can get yourself one of these, do it. It is so rewarding, but just make sure you have it in a very brightly lit area to keep the variegation this gorgeous and easy to propagate. It grows. I do need to give this one a pull, and the aerial roots that pop out, as long as you've got an aerial root, propagate it with the aerial root, put it in some bright light, and it will be so rewarding for you. Thank you so much for spending time with me today in my greenhouse and going over some of my favorite plants. If you have a plant that you would like me to highlight, I do have quite an extensive collection of Hoyas, Philodendrons, Syngoniums. If you would like me to spotlight a specific plant or go over care instructions for it, please put it down in the comments below so we know what content to make for you. If you would just like general information on a species of plant, also let us know. And hopefully we will see you again in a few weeks with an update on our greenhouse that's coming, as well as the import that should be arriving soon. We've got, I think, another 3 weeks for our import to arrive, and we want to do an unboxing for you and show you what happens when we receive our order of imports and go through how we acclimate them. So thank you for joining me today, and hopefully we'll see you next time. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and follow us on Instagram, and we've got a Facebook account. For those of you, before I forget, for those of you who have not yet entered our Top Fan competition, which is running until the end of August, we are going to be rewarding one of our top fans for Fuzzy Roots with their wish list plants. But we need to start finalizing that competition, so please go like that post, go share our posts on Facebook, and enter that competition. You never know, you could be walking away with your top wish list plant. Bye for now.